Hey everybody, Brian Mead coming at you today with a deck profile for my DDD deck. This is a update after Breakers of Shadow, so haven't given up on the deck yet. I still really like it. So for starters, we got 3 copies of Kepler, and Kepler can search out any dark contract you want. So he's nice. He's also a high scale, so it's very rare, but occasionally I will put him into the pendulum zone, but more he's really just used for searching the dark contracts. Next we got 1 copy of DD Savant Galley. You can pitch him to bounce a dark contract or a DD back to your hand, so you can normal summon the Kepler, he has 0 attack, and you can discard the Galley and bounce the Kepler back to your hand, and then it also feeds your graveyard for things like Necro Slime later on. We got 3 copies of DD Swirl Slime, Special Summon, Fusion Summon, Wonderfulness. 2 copies of DD Necro Slime. The slimes are really important to the deck because that's like your primary way of fusion summoning, and it also with the swirl slimes you can just banish it to special summon DDs from your hand, so that's great. And you really want to summon this guy, DDD Oblivion King Abyss Ragnarok. If he's in the pendulum zone, you special summon a DDD. You can special summon a DDD out of your graveyard, and then you take 1,000 damage. But normally you don't even take that because you usually have ways to gain life points back. And if he's special summoned, you can special summon DD out of your graveyard, so that's pretty great. And that's gonna come up a lot in the way that you play, or that I play this deck anyways. 3 copies of Rebel King Leonidas. He can basically just block you from taking effect damage, which is great because then you don't burn from your contracts. 2 copies of DD Baphomet. Can change the levels of other DDDs to make Xyz plays. He's alright. He's okay. This is a new one. I got 3 copies of Fiendish Warrior Rhino, or Fiendish Rhino Warrior. Fiend type monsters you control, except Fiendish Rhino Warrior, cannot be destroyed by battle or by card effects. That right there makes this card awesome in this deck because all the other monsters are fiends. Like all the DDDs are all fiends, so it's going to protect them. And then when he gets sent to the graveyard, you can send another fiend monster to the graveyard, so you can just like instantly pitch a slime, whether you need a Necro Slime or a Swirl Slime, or maybe you want to pitch Oblivion King so you can special summon it back. There's just tons of plays that this guy sets up, not to mention he just protects all your monsters, so he's awesome. Then 2 copies of Jurigato, because he's just he's a fiend, fits into the theme, and just he's wonderful because he can make you just get over everything. I mean, you need to get over a Dark Destroyer, you can use Jurigato, and any one of the boss monsters in this deck to do it. But that does it for the monsters. Come on here. Into the spells, we got some generic ones out front. 1 copy of Burial from the different dimension. You can get your slimes back, or anything that you fused with the slimes to make fusion monsters. 1 copy of Allure of Darkness. 1 copy of 1-for-1 to get out your Kepler. I'm getting into some contracts. 3 copies of Dark Contract with the Gate. Search out any DD. So, and that's every turn, so that's awesome. Kind of get spoiled with that. 1 copy of Dark Contract with the Swamp King. This is just another way to fuse, but you can fuse out of the graveyard, kind of like a Miracle Fusion, so that's great. 2 copies of Chicken Game. Now, Chicken Game, I really like in this because you do get the draw, and yeah, it sucks that your opponent gets the draw. But what's also really nice is because it is the secondary effect where you can't burn for damage if you have less life points than your opponent. So if your opponent hits you for a couple thousand points of damage, maybe you're 2,000 less than your opponent or something, when it comes around to your turn, your Dark Contracts won't burn you to death because you have your Chicken Game out. And that's just like icing on the cake. It just puts in more work that way, so I like it. 2 copies of Dark Contract with the Witch. I'm liking this card more and more the more I play with it, and because of the way that I've restructured the deck, I can get to a lot more Dark Contracts faster, so that's great. 2 copies of Dark Contract with Errors. Can turn off all trap cards, and that's wonderful to combo with the Floodgates. So I run 1 copy of Vanity's Emptiness, 1 copy of Skill Drain, and 1 copy of Lose 1 Turn, and then I just turn them off with the contract with Errors. So on my turn I can special summon, and then on my opponent's turn I'll say, okay, traps are active again, and then they're locked under Vanities. And then finally I have 2 copies of Pendulum Reborn, and Pendulum Reborn is just absolutely amazing in this deck because you don't actually pendulum summon a lot with the current way DDDs are built. That might change after the structure deck finally gets released, but right now they don't really pendulum summon. So a lot of times you'll do things like you'll summon a Kepler, and Kepler will get destroyed and it'll go to your extra deck, and it just sits there for the rest of the game. But you play a Pendulum Reborn, you actually have a way to special summon that Kepler back, and then its effect will trigger again. You can search another Dark Contract, or if you have and it can also bring them back from the graveyard. So if you have a Oblivion King either face up in your extra deck or in the graveyard, you special summon that. Its effect activates, special summons another DD out of your graveyard. So there's just a lot of really awesome plays that Pendulum Reborn can set up for you. And so that's why I run 2 of them. In the extra deck, 1, 2, 3 copies of DD King Dark. And Dark is awesome. Anytime you would burn, you instead gain life points. So all those Dark Contracts can end up giving you a ton of life points. I've had upwards of 30,000 life points in games before my opponents finally just, alright, scoop. 2 copies of DDD Wave Oblivion King Caesar Ragnarok. God, it's like hardest name in the deck to say. So this guy has a really awesome effect that doesn't target. As long as your opponent has 2 monsters, you attack with this guy, and you want to attack the smaller monster usually, and then his effect will activate. You bounce the Dark Contract you have in your back row back to your hand, take the big monster, equip it to this guy, and then run over their little monster. And it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't target, so that's great because it can get around effects like Dark Destroyer. He's a Dark Destroyer killer. 1 copy of DDD Wave King Caesar. You detach 1 from him. All the DDDs that got destroyed this turn get to come back. So like if your opponent mirror forces you, you activate his effect. They'll all come back to the end of the battle phase. You will take damage during your next standby, assuming you don't have a way to stop that. 1 copy of DDD Marksman King Tell. 1 copy of DDD Duodon King Kali-Yuga. I might bump this up to 2. He's absolutely amazing. He can heavy storm on either you or your opponent's turns. He like negates every effect on the field on the turn he's summoned, which just makes it safe to go off. One copy of Livier the Sea Dragon. This is just kind of like the one random rank 3 that is possible to go into thanks to the Fiendish Rhino Warriors. One copy of Castel, the Sky Blaster Musketeer. One copy of Abyss Dweller. One copy of Mecha Phantom Beast Dracosac. One copy of Red Eye's Flare Metal Dragon. One copy of number 11 Big Eye. And finally, one copy of Divine Dragon Knight Felgrand. And that is the DDD deck. So I hope you guys liked it. Please let me know what you thought. Comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I'll see you next time.